Hey there, it's Charity Haderlie here, helping people live true to their dreams instead of true to their fears through coaching, keynoting, published works, and events. So last week on Wednesday, I was in Ogden, Utah, and I spoke at Hustle and Heart Realty. And this realty group, I really love. They have a nonprofit called Spread the Love, and every month they invite speakers to come and share empowering messages, inspiring messages. And what I shared were 3 very simple yet powerful tips to help you feel more connected and empowered in life, to help you move past those blocks that are holding you back and making you feel like you're not good enough, like you're not worth it. Because you are worth it and you are good enough. And so many times there are just things that weigh us down inside that we're not paying attention to. We are ignoring, we are shoving away, and that becomes heavy and weighs us down. And then we become anchored in those fears and in those doubts. And it's impossible to change our future when we're anchored in the past. So one of the exercises that I had them do was called write and release. And here's a very simple way that you do it. I had everyone take a sheet of paper. They did not put their name on it. And they wrote down something that they were resisting. They wrote down something that they're ignoring from their past. It could be past, present, or something they're fearing. Whatever that is that their mind that is calling to their heart right now that they have been ignoring. And so I had them write these down, and I have sheets and sheets and sheets of these. I bring them home with me to read through them because it helps me become more connected to the next audience that I speak with, because I'm more in tune with the pain points and the fears that are going on currently in life. And I will tell you what, I have plenty of them as well. I've had many doubts and fears that have just about caused me to quit doing my events, to not publish my book, to actually quit all the social media. There have been some serious mind garbage in my head as I have been moving forward and pushing past my own fears in life. The reason I do what I do is because about 20 years ago, I battled severe depression and social anxiety. And to be honest with you, I didn't know that I had those things, those issues. I honestly had believed that I was defective. And if you feel like you're defective, there's nothing you can do to change that. So I felt hopeless. On the outside, I would put on a fake smile and I would pretend everything was okay, and I would be there to help others and cheer everybody else on. But on the inside, I was destroying myself with the toxic culture of my mind. I was destroying myself with past misconceptions of my childhood, of interpreting certain situations, certain traumas in a way that made me feel like I was defective and that there was nothing I can do about that. And if we do not turn toward what we are resisting and get that out, write it and release it, then it holds us back. It weighs us down. So this is just one very simple exercise that I do. I shared 3 of them that I share with my coaching clients, I share at workshops, and this one was one that I felt was very important to do with these women. So I had them write down, I had them take a few deep breaths, and when you take a few deep breaths, that gets you out of your mind, all these worries, all these fears that cycle around, the spin cycle of worry and fear and doubt. Take a few deep breaths. Let that oxygen nourish your brain so that you can calm that down. And then I had them tune into their heart and write down some pain points that they were experiencing. And so I wanted to share some of these with you because so often when we have these pain points and struggles, we feel like we're the only one. We feel like no one else has struggles but us, or no one else has experienced this except for me. And that is the biggest lie. Whatever fear or doubt you have, I guarantee you there is another person who has experienced, and probably many people who have experienced the same that you have. And the one thing I tell my clients all the time is, for example, I have a client named Victoria, and I say, Victoria, this is not a Victoria problem. This is a human problem. And I tell it to myself, this is not a charity problem. this is a human problem. And recognizing that you are not the only one, you are not isolated in your pain points, you are not isolated in those fears and doubts, you're not isolated in that trauma, you're not the only one, that gives you power. There's power in connecting our stories and recognizing that we are not the only one. And if you think about certain things in your life that have held you back, our biggest obstacle in life is our mindset, the way that we think about and interpret what's going on in life. Those thoughts create feelings, and those feelings and emotions, they either cause action or inaction. So it's really important to recognize how you're viewing the world and how you're interpreting it, because that weighs us down, or it gives us power and fuel to move forward. So let me share a few of these with you. I'll just read through some of them. So this one says, I feel scared when I think of pursuing my heart's passion and being judged by others. That is one I definitely have felt. It's scary to put yourself out there and do something different. I had the identity as, well, I'm a depressed person, or I'm defective, or I'm not good enough, or I grew up in such meager circumstances. Who am I to have success in my life? And these weigh us down. And feeling judged by others, as I move forward, there have been some weird responses sometimes of like, oh my gosh, you do public speaking? Like, I had no idea. Like, you're this quiet girl that I knew, and now you're like empowering people. It's interesting. We don't like feeling, it's hard to stand out, and it's hard to follow your heart's passion, because it does change those relationships. It changes the way others view you, and it changes the way you view yourself. And there's ways that you can manage that and move forward anyway. It's so important to not let those fears of how your relationships will change hold you back, because the world needs you to be you. And I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but we get these identities in our childhood of who we are, and then we live true to that and true to those fears the rest of our life. But recognizing that we go through this cycle of change constantly, we're constantly evolving. So I can't hold you accountable and say, hey, well, this is who you were then. Why are you this way now? And, it causes a lot of confusion in people sometimes. So just recognizing that we're all continuously evolving. There's people in your past who you may feel like they were the biggest jerks ever, but now they're really nice people. People evolve, people change. Give them the permission to change and evolve, and give yourself the permission to evolve and grow and lean into what it is that's calling to your heart. Let me read a few more of these. Pull out your tissues. This one says, I feel that I'm not good enough. That 12-year-old that felt no one wanted to be her friend. Wow. This is a grown woman who is holding on to that pain from the past as a 12-year-old, feeling like no one wanted to be her friend. Wow. Here's one. This person says, I felt sad and confused when I was laid off. I feel minimized in my marriage, and I worry about my son. Wow, these pain points. I feel disempowered by senior coworkers who refuse to look at new ways to accomplish goals. And here's another one. I feel scared that if I change my path, I'll no longer feel needed in my relationships with loved ones if I change. Wow. I have quite a few of these that go on and on. People scared. I'm scared and frustrated that I'm scared and stuck in, let me start over. I'm frustrated that I'm scared of failure in raising my children. Now, these are just a small sampling of the pain points that women and men too feel in life, and just recognizing that you're not alone. If you've ever felt this way, or if you've ever felt like you are struggling to move forward and move past things that have held you back and weighed you down, just know that there is hope. If you need help with any of that, I can help you break through those walls that hold you back and build connection with yourself and your loved ones and your community and humanity, and also with your higher power. All this whole cycle of connection, the circle of connection from self inward to outward, is so important. And that was my journey. I was so disconnected from who I am and who I'm meant to be that it made me feel disempowered and I felt worthless. And so if you have felt any of this, you want some help to move forward, I've got your back. I can tell you right now that I will be your biggest cheerleader, and I would be happy to help illuminate your pathway on the way to becoming the bravest, boldest version of yourself. So you can check out charityhaderlie.com if you want to learn more or schedule an appointment with me. And if nothing else, I would recommend doing the write and release. Take a sheet of paper and just take a few deep breaths and start writing down all the garbage that is holding you back. I feel this way because of this. I felt that way because of that. And the reason why it's so important to get these thoughts out is because of this. Well, there's many reasons, but let me share this analogy with you. If there is a little flashlight or even a little candlelight in my peripheral vision, if I'm focusing this way, something in the peripheral, a little light in the peripheral looks bigger to the side. But when I turn and focus on it, I see it comes into focus and I see that it's just a little light in the distance, a little light in my peripheral. And these thoughts and feelings and emotions can be heavy, and they're just in our peripheral. If we're not focusing on them, we're pushing away, that we're ignoring them, they feel so much bigger and heavier. But once you get them out and focus on them, you can see that it's not as big as you thought it was. You can see that you're interpreting things in a way that actually makes you feel disempowered. And so just the act of getting them out is very cleansing. It's very healing. It helps you feel lighter and more energetic. And it's very important to express yourself because that is a very basic human need. Being heard and seen and understood is connection. And connection is one of the very most basic human needs so that we can survive in life. Without it, we would not survive. We would have experience of failure to thrive and turn to the wall and die. And so writing down our thoughts and feelings helps us connect to ourselves. How often are we denying ourselves a basic human need of connection when we are ignoring how we're feeling? So writing and releasing is such a powerful tool that you can use. And then when you're done writing it, crumple it up and toss it in the trash, shred it, burn it, whatever you want to do to get rid of it, to release it as a symbolic way to say, like, this is not going to hold me back anymore. This is not weighing me down. And you can do that over and over and over again. It's such a powerful tool. And I challenge you to use the write and release exercise and see how more connected you feel with yourself, with your goals, with your dreams, and with those around you. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you have a fabulous rest of your week.